Last episode. Yes, I am sick. Last episode, the news caused a lot of big mess. France is now is turning into a feudal realm. But at this point, the United States of America has fallen into the same trap. This time, they have Canada. Ooh, Canada! The United States government collapses again. With Canadian separatists, multiple different insurgencies. This includes California, the independent California, the Texan Confederation, the Tejas region, Mormons, City of Sin or Las Vegas, Cascadia, and a bunch of new feudalist peoples. People around the East Coast would be the formation of would be a corporate coup. These corporations that came back from the dead in America. Meanwhile, Louisiana is taken over by neo-feudalists. Atlanta is taken over, and the territory by gangs. Detroit becomes the capital of the Americans. The Canadians move down, capture Detroit, and of course the separatists. After this, a lot of factions decided would become fully independent. This includes the Republic of Texas, the Californian state, the Canadians do also basically make it so that, and the rest of the United States is left up to anarchy as the different groups settle on these borders. We got the Kingdom Desert, that's what gives serious advantage to the new feudalists, which would quickly take a lot of American hostages. The feudalists would quickly take over farmland. The neo-corporatist faction, or the cult of, the century, or the cult, would establish overall dominion over the East Coast, but Slowly, Atlanta gets captured. Slowly but surely, this conservative American government, which had slowly moved into more Protestantism, gets overpowered Catholics, by Catholicism forming from the French people here, from the Louisiana culture. The Canadians do leave the war, leaving Detroit in full anarchy. In the midst, two factions are. With this, America is split into two factions. But these guys have an ideal of forming the Empire of America. Descended from European settlers, not non-English settlers by that. They would pursue a goal of purification. They would decide to make the state decentralized because none of them knew how to fucking govern. And their leader, they would build a new Kansas to become a capital to become. They would build the settlement of New Kansas, and they would establish the kingdom of the capital, the Kansas capital. After that, we have the the duchies of the Indians with multiple reservation, with multiple Indian tribes now being allowed to roam freely in the dust of Oklahoma. The North would really just be divided on Dakota debate and like this area. By this point, new feudalism is starting to become a new trend, even though humanity is now going out to space. Jim, Slim Jim, he is. With this Minnesota, this the this area would also unite, becoming the kingdoms or the despotates. The large areas are known as the despotates. With Ohio and the areas near Detroit becoming their independent duchies and counties, with the Duchy of of Jersey here, the Greater Duchy of Greater Delaware, the Duchy of Kansas of East of White House of the White House, and Florida would be split between multiple things. Louisiana would actually be divided between the free city here. There are also very much free cities, with there being like the Duchy of Chicagoland and the Chicago Major. New York, due to its bustling metropolitan life, along with Cleveland. Columbus would actually be a really good city state, along with these small counties down here. The Long Island would be split between Long Island Minor, which would be the county of Long Island Minor, the New York City, the Bronx. The Bronx would be independent from New York City, and the rest would be known as the Mid-State. The Mid-State. The rest of the areas would be somewhat based around Alabama, Georgia, the Carolinas, Virginia, and lower in Appalachia. Like the French days, this ideology would become pretty utopic. The war would really cause decentralized leadership due to the descendants of the old emperor really not will deal with local leaders, causing areas like their corporate lands, where areas where the corporations rule, or cyberpunk basically. Those areas include the New York, and they're going to represent them with this color. This color means that they are corporatist areas. This includes Miami, this area made it to Disneyland. Atlanta could be also considered as well known Bronx in New York City, and White House, and of course Cleveland. Upstate, not upstate, I don't know what. Now let's look in here, okay? By this point, the African superpowers are showing themselves really well. In Africa, with its massive population boom, globular warming, is coming back, is starting to become a new hotbed of tension. In the north, there are multiple blocks that have established themselves. This includes multiple pacts. These pacts would mainly be based on regional hegemonies, but the would somewhat be beneficiary aligned. There would be beneficiary allies too. This includes like Rwanda and Somaliland. These are the. After that, there is the East African Federation's alliance, which would include all of these countries. And finally, Egypt's alliance. South Africa is currently viewed as the dumb power, so no, it doesn't